How interesting. Just look at that. Absolutely not. Let's try this. You look terrible. My goodness! Yes, you seem like someone I can trust.
Welcome to Kit Katastrophe. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at Transformers Cybertron Deluxe Class Dirt Boss. This figure came out in 2005 as part of Wave 1 of the Deluxe assortment. Hailing from the speed planet of Velocitron, Dirt Boss takes the road less traveled, or rather no road at all, considering that his alternate mode is a monster truck, and a futuristic one at that. Dirt Boss is cast in a reverse Constructicon color palette, which works well enough. Purple and green are an unambiguous Decepticon color scheme, even if Dirt Boss barely interacted with the Decepticons at all in the show. He was more just some random prick that showed up every so often to be a dick to override. I do have some concern as to how Dirt Boss is supposed to be able to steer, considering each pair of wheels is more akin to tank tracks in their placement, though I suppose he could just turn his other pair of wheels faster to turn. Said wheels are cast in a translucent red plastic and have painted rims. I like what the designers were going for with their green stripe running down the middle of the tread and all, but the construction just results in far too much friction to roll. This isn't even a problem due to age, it's been like this since I got it in 2005. Inserting Dirt Boss's Cyberplanet key into the rear causes the wheels to splay outward, at least in theory. The day before I started writing this script, part of the wire making up the spring mechanism on the left side just broke. So if I were to pick him up... As long as he's on the ground, it's not too much of a problem. I really like this alternate posture for the vehicle mode. You can tell just by looking at it with its wide base and lower center of mass that Dirt Boss is specializing in speed here. Well, more so than usual, given he's from the speed planet and all. With Dirt Boss's wheels splayed outwards, we can begin the transformation, which is a really satisfying scheme. The legs disguise themselves rather cleverly into the front of the truck. In fact, everything hides pretty well. The arms are far more swivel-centric than the legs were, though they feature some panels to help lock the vehicle mode in place and to clean up the robot mode. After that, fold down the back and bring out the head and... Wait, we're done? Cybertron Dirt Boss has a really striking silhouette. That's mostly due to the fact that about half the volume of the vehicle mode is just hanging off his body. That's right, due to their spring-loaded nature, the wheels don't go anywhere during transformation, and as I'll demonstrate later, the rear of the truck doesn't go anywhere either. This results in an extremely kibbly robot mode, more so than most original mold Cybertron figures. Though, considering I got this figure when I was 5, it's kind of hard for me to hold anything against it. Though, trust me, I'm trying to look at this from a modern lens. The color scheme remains the same as it was in vehicle mode, though there's some added gray on his arms, legs, and head. That head sculpt is really unique, with one eye being replaced by 3 lenses. Dirt Boss could easily have been utilized as a reconnaissance officer by the Decepticons. My big complaint about the head is that it's on a plank which doesn't really lock in anywhere, so Dirt Boss's head is always floating no matter what you do. The reason that massive box is hanging off of Dirt Boss's back is due to his robot mode Cyber Key gimmick. Inserting the included Speed Planet key into the slot unlocks 2 spring-loaded cannons. The spring is really powerful, and while the guns don't fire or anything, they look pretty cool. You see, the thing that you should know about Dirt Boss is that his head is on a plank, and this is a cardinal sin, and that means this figure is trash. I'm just kidding, it's not trash, but it is kind of disappointing. His head can turn, I'm assuming 360 degrees, but I've never really tried it. It gets pretty tight going around 90 degrees, but it does have a good range of motion. It's just a simple swivel, so don't expect too much out of it. And thanks to the hinge connecting it to the plank, he can look up, but that dislocates his neck. So that's unfortunate. The shoulders swivel forward and backward, but they get stopped by the obvious kibble, and they can go all the way outwards. This helps due to transformation. And the biceps swivel 360 degrees, and the elbows bend 90 degrees, which is pretty good, especially for a figure of the era. This is pretty standard. The waist, due to transformation, spins 360 degrees and is completely unimpeded. It doesn't hit into anything. And the legs swivel forward, they can go backwards, and they can go all the way outwards. This is also partially due to transformation, but that is a nice split right there. The thighs themselves don't swivel, but there is a swivel right above the knee joint, and due to transformation, the knee bends about 180 degrees, which is impeccable, and far better than pretty much anything else that came out during this time. But this also means that his legs are hollow, sadly, but I can look past that. Finally, his toes can point. This one's a little loose just because it's old. The figure's 15 years old, so there's not much you can do about that besides maybe, tightening it. So, yeah, Dirt Boss, his posability isn't too bad. His stability is not too bad either, because his feet are pretty long, so you can get him into some good poses without him falling over due to all of his kibble, because he is pretty stable when you get down to it. Out of all of the Cybertron figures I've looked at so far, Dirt Boss is one of the weaker entries. He doesn't integrate as much of his alternate mode as I'd like, instead opting to sacrifice a cleaner transformation for more spring-loaded gimmickry. This does result in a really recognizable robot mode, I will admit, and the transformation scheme is nonetheless fun. His articulation is also really good for his time, though it does have some limitations. All in all, I just don't think Dirt Boss has as much of that fun factor as entries like Landmine have. He's still inoffensive and fun to mess with, but he probably shouldn't be your first foray into the toy line. With that said, I'd say the Dirt Boss is deserving of the rank of crummy, even if it's on the stronger side of that particular tier. If you liked this video or otherwise found it helpful or informative, then please subscribe for more reviews like this in the future, and feel free to suggest topics for future reviews. Next time it's back to Siege, where we're on the home stretch. This has been Katastrophe. Transform and roll out.